Okay, I'm going to expose this Muslim rat weasel who goes by the name of Gaussian 1979. Now, this video's been a long time coming. He's just put up a post stating that I'm a liar and a coward and that he 100% wants to say that the Gaza war is fake and that it's all controlled demolition. Right, and then he links you over to a channel here on BitChute. Now we're going to take a look at this channel here in a moment, and then I'm going to expose this rat weasel for the fraud that he is. Right, and this is going to be the only video I'm going to do on this topic because it's a very touchy topic that can bring along with it censorship. Right, but this guy's been running his mouth for a long time now, and I was just waiting for the right moment to body him. All right, so you might remember a few months back when I got into a back and forth with the agent, otherwise known as John LeBon. Right, who was trying to say that John LeBon took it a step further, hiding behind a paywall. Right, and I called him out on it. Right, and then you had a couple of other frauds or trusted sources of alternative media. One of those being as truthers or trusted sources of alternative media. One of those being Tim Osman from Infinite Plane Society, and another one being Jake the Arsehole. This live stream on multiple occasions and confronted him. Jake the Arsehole were working behind the scenes trying to discredit me for telling you the truth. All right, I then exposed some of the roles that Jake was playing, and he shut his mouth real quick. And is promoting, titled Fake Nukes. So this is the bombing that took place earlier this morning inside of Lebanon, targeting the Hezbollah leaderships. Now this disinformation agent here is trying to claim that that's smoke machines he's claiming that you're dealing with smoke machines. And this is what Gaussian's claiming here. Right, by linking you to this channel. Now what they're relying on is people not doing any research. Now if you're on YouTube and only on YouTube, you may get taken in by weasels like Gaussian, or weasels like the characters running channels like this, right? Because YouTube doesn't allow people to report on what's really going on there. People to report on what's really going on there. Because YouTube doesn't allow people to report on what's really going on there. You can't show injuries, blood, and live footage. Injuries, people to report on what's really going on there. You can't show injuries, blood, and live footage.
Doesn't look good for you, but it's a slam dunk touchdown for me. So they pulled out this this child from the rubble a couple days ago in Gaza. So they pull out this baby here, and you can see there's no broken bones. As you can see, there is a building on top of this baby. You're watching grown men play with a rubber baby. Now look at the arms spring. The arms spring back and forth. This is one of the most obvious rubber babies. See the arm spring? Yeah, the arm spring. So, see, that is a slam dunk. The concrete building had collapsed on this child. There's no compound fracture. The arm springs back like it's made of rubber. So the leg springs like it's made of rubber. Yeah, it's like a pick six. That's what that's like. And this child supposedly has lost his arm, or her arm, and so let's stop it here. Okay, so we are missing an arm here, aren't we? And what else are we missing? Yeah, there should be some major bones there inside this arm. This is just a red mass. This is an artist rendition of what a severed arm looks like. This is not reality. This is not what it would look like in reality. You would definitely see the bone there. There's a big, huge bone there. It's not there. And so then he positions the rubber child for, oh, and notice that the latex gloves are completely clean. There's no blood transfer from this rubber mannequin, this Halloween monster. See, in Gaza, they celebrate Halloween year round. And they've got a Halloween department, and they make these rubber monsters. And that's what it is. This is not real. This is impossible. What you're looking at is an impossibility where there would be no bone showing. That is not possible. So the clean latex gloves are now positioning this child for the photo shoot, for the cameras, because this is all for the cameras. Then later on in this video, we get to this girl here, and let's pause it here. And so what do you see in here? Well, her foot is completely almost severed off. And what's missing? Yeah, once again, there's no bones. Okay, these rubber babies don't have bones. Notice the shirt is written in English. I can't zoom in, but it's an English shirt designed for an English audience because you are the target audience for all this propaganda because they're coming to your country. I saw that they are fleeing Lebanon today, and by the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are fleeing Lebanon. Well, where do you think they're going? Yeah, they're going to Europe. Yeah, they're going to Europe. This is a population movement thing. They've been doing it with rubber babies ever since the Alan Kurdi event of 2015. The 2014 Intifada had lots of rubber babies too. So there's bones missing here. This, again, is another impossibility. This is a slam dunk for me. This is a pick six. I just intercepted your pass and returned it for 6 points. This is bad. You're just losing on a daily basis. You are losing points on a daily basis. Pretend this war is real. Oh, he said the Israelis launched a mini nuke. Oh, a mini nuke, huh? He says the Jews have previously nuked Beirut in the port explosion in 2020. Well, that was proven not to be a nuke. They admitted that it was not a nuke. They said it was ammonium nitrate stored at a warehouse in the port there. They said it wasn't a nuke. It was a mother of all bombs, one of those huge conventional warheads that we have. And this is probably a conventional warhead, but actually this looks like this is Hollywood special effects. We go into this. See, the bomb goes off. You see like a little concussion go up. But that could be added. That could be added in the studio. And then this fireball, it doesn't look natural. It looks like it was added in the studio. Again, but wait, this guy was pointing his camera and captured the entire explosion from beginning to end. Did you see that? So how did this guy know to point his camera this direction? He captures the entire explosion from beginning to end. And so how did he know that they were going to let off this bomb here? And this fireball looks like it's added. And even if this concussion wave is real, then it's just a conventional warhead. You see the concussion wave come up right there. We have conventional warheads that do that, and they added in this fireball later at the studio. And of course, the guy is pointing his camera right at it for the whole time. So those are 3 strikes against you, Palestine Sunbird. And I just intercepted your pass again and have returned it 100 yards for a touchdown. So what you think is proving your point is just giving more points to me. Okay. So that's what we have. These rubber dolls that have these massive injuries just prove my point. And it shows that your side is using rubber dolls. For certain, absolutely confirmed, your side is using rubber dolls. And so you know what? You need to adjust your thinking, but you just refuse to. Instead you double down. You double down on. So here's some examples of dead civilians. Okay, this is what happens. Here's an example of the German photography. Okay, the Germans are not concealing anything. The German photographer is showing you the skyline of the city, even the statue here, even the spire back here. This is literally a location stamp and a time stamp because of the clothing. We can tell this is 1945. This truck over here, we can tell this is basically we're dealing with late 1945 here, or early 1945, sorry. So we basically have a location stamp and a time stamp. We know when and where this picture was taken. We can see they're building a funeral pyre. They are stacking dead corpses onto a pile. Now, why would they do that? Because they got to light this thing on fire because they got too many dead corpses. They can't bury them in time. There's disease going all around. And as you can see, here's what happens in a real mass casualty event. They lay the bodies face up They don't put blankets on them. They don't put them in body bags because that would completely go against what you're trying to do. You're trying to get an identification on this corpse right here. And many times you need to see the clothing in order to get an identification. Somebody would walk up and say, oh, well, that's my dad's shoes, so that's my dad. Or, you know, you need the clothing exposed so that you can, that helps with the identification. The only time they use body bags and sheets to cover up the dead bodies is when they're faking it, okay? That's the only time. When it's real, you don't put them in body bags. You put them face up so you get an identification. Wearing the clothes. That's when it's real. And what are we getting from Gaza right now? We're getting a whole bunch of this showing us body bags. And sometimes they unzip the body bag and you can see the face, but the face, it's a rubber baby. So they are showing us corpses, but they don't look like this. They're not corpses that look like this. We'll get some close-ups, and I'll show you what's different about Dresden and what's going on in Gaza right now. So here's some boys from Dresden that were killed by flames, okay? This is an oxygenated fire that was able to burn the clothes off, and they were killed by flames. As you can see, they always get into this position where the wrists curl over and the knees go up. This is the horrific position you get into the human body as you're getting fried to death with flames, okay? Different from when you get cooked to death. And we're going to get into that. We should be seeing this at Gaza. We should be seeing children on the street that have been cooked by flames. We are being told that the Israelis are using bombs, rockets that are causing fire. So we should be seeing this in the streets of Gaza. We are not. We are seeing cheesy stage scenes of them bringing actors with fake blood on their forehead going into the emergency room of the hospital. What's this one? What's going on over here? Here's some more women who were burned alive by flames at Dresden. As you can see, they took that same position with the knees up, with the wrists curling over. You can notice that her clothes have been burned up because she was burned by flames. A fire that has a lot of oxygen. Now, fire, when it's deprived of oxygen, will cook you like an oven, and you will suffocate because all the oxygen is being sucked out of the air. And that explains why we get different injuries here. And so here's another civilian, a civilian clothes. This is not a military target. Dresden was not a military target. You can see the eye socket here. This is an identifiable part of the human anatomy. This is not a mannequin. Some of you have been saying that the Germans use mannequins. But it's like, no, that's a real dead civilian there. You dropped phosphorus bombs. Napalm. You dropped napalm on women and children. And you feel guilty about it, which is why you keep lying about what happened in Dresden. Is because you know that your ancestors did something very bad. And you don't want to admit to it. Here's a pile of human bodies about ready to get burned. Notice the German photographers would get up close and take a photo of the bodies. Okay? They wouldn't stand far back. No, they would get up close and take a picture of it because they wanted to prove this happened. They even brought a color camera with a color film in it. You get the lamp post back here. This is a location stamp and a time stamp of when this picture was taken. 1945 in Dresden. We know it because the German photographers would get this skyline on purpose because he wanted you to see that this is Dresden. He wanted you to see the architecture. This is unique to Dresden. We even know the roundabout circle this is. What part of the city it is because of this statue here. And you can see the flames. They had to take flamethrowers and light these bodies on fire. Here again, same technique, making sure to get this entire statue in the photo. This is why this cameraman did this.
He wanted this entire statue in here so that you would know where this happened. So that you people later would say, the Germans are faking it. Oh, that could have been taken anywhere. No, this is taken in Dresden in 1945. Okay, more dead bodies. Again, laid up, not covered in sheets. More dead bodies, getting ready for the funeral pyre. You see here in the background, laying face up so that you can get an identification. You see these pair of shoes here? That could be very important because that could be the only way to identify this corpse here, is from this pair of shoes. Why would you put a sheet over this body? You would hide the shoes, and you couldn't get an identification. See, what they're doing in Gaza right now is total fakery. This is what's real. This is what happened in a real event, when it's real. So here's a jumbled mass of bodies. What's interesting about this photo is the hand here. You can see the white part and then the dark part. This is where the skin has been peeled off from the being baked, being cooked by fire. Now, the clothing has not been burned off because these people were not killed by flames. They were not killed by an oxygenated fire. Oxygenated fire. They were killed by a fire that had sucked all the oxygen out, and they suffocated, and that's why the clothes remained. They were cooked in an oven. That's what happens when we drop incendiary bombs on civilians. You allies did this. Again, more bodies laying face up to get this identification. You can see that these are civilians. You can see the woman's shoes here dropping napalm on civilians. Only the allies did this, not vice versa. And people don't feel in war, both sides do bad things. Like, no, in World War II, it was a one-way street. The Allies did all the bad things, and the Germans and Japanese took it. Total crime. Total crime. And the photographs bear it out about which way the crime went. Who did the crime and who was the victim? Another photo of the funeral pyre. Notice the German photographers made sure to get lots of damn photos of the funeral pyre. They wanted you to see what you did. What you did. That you still try to deny to this day. Oh, well, everybody does stuff bad during war. No, you allies did this. This may be miscategorized. This might be Bromberg. This looks like a wilderness setting. But again, in Bromberg, well, everybody does stuff bad during war. No, you allies did this. This may be miscategorized. This might be Bromberg. This looks like a wilderness setting. But again, in Bromberg, we killed civilians too. These are dead German civilians here. You allies. No, and notice again, no sheets are being used. No body bags are being used. Stupid to use those things if you're trying to get identification. Another picture of the funeral pyre, again, of the lamppost. The photographer stood back to make sure you get this lamppost. So this is a location stamp where this photo was taken. Oh, Phil, that picture could have been taken anywhere, Phil. No, we know this is Dresden, 1945. So, here's the famous photo that Miles Mathis and others say, this proves that Dresden was fake. Because if this woman's hair should be burned off and her clothes should be burned off. No, she wasn't burned by flames. She was in an unoxygenated, I can't say that word today. There was no oxygen because the fire had sucked it. She wasn't burned by flames. She was in an unoxygenated, I can't say that word today. There was no oxygen because the fire had sucked it out. She suffocated to death and she got baked alive like in an oven. If there's no oxygen in the fire, it won't burn the hair and it won't burn the clothes. It'll suffocate the people and cook them alive like in an oven. See this woman back here was older. Her whole skin disappeared. This is a younger girl, probably 17 or 18, and that's why her skin kind of remains. But this is what happens when you dropped in billions. This is a real dead woman, and you don't want to face it. You want to face that World War II was actually a crime that your grandfathers perpetrated, and to this day you still lie about it. Like Joe Biden just freaking lied about it at the Normandy. Just fucking made me so mad that Joe. All the presidents have always lied about D-Day. All of them. Saying it was the great liberation of Europe. No, it was a great invasion of Europe. And you killed all these good people. These good people that you see on the screen right here. You went out and killed them. And you said, oh, see the skull, the eye sockets of this father here. Okay, the skin was burned off. Okay. And the German photographer got up close because he wanted to show you that you dropped freaking napalm on civilians. And not vice versa. The Germans did not do this to England yet. We're gonna get into it. And then we're gonna talk about the fakery. Okay, because this is real. Dresden is real. This is real dead bodies you're looking at here that have been suffocated before they were cooked. Another child, another civilian that you killed. And again, Miles Mathis uses this photo also, saying, how come the clothes isn't burned off? Well, it's the same thing. This family, you can see, it's maybe a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old and an infant. And this is the mother. This family got cooked alive by all the oxygen got sucked out of the room, and they suffocated before they were baked like an oven. Out of the room, and they suffocated before they were baked like an oven. That's what happened here. It's like, no, that's fake. And it's like, no, this is what those are the words of people that just don't want to face what your ancestor did. The crime that your ancestor perpetrated. And there's going to be no repentance. Our country's going to remain cursed. Everyone wants to keep lying about it, like Joe Biden just did yesterday on that freaking speech. Everybody wants to keep lying about it. And our country gets sicker and sicker with more transsexuals and children cutting off their penises and okay, we're not going to talk about what we did. We're going to talk about what you did. And then what we did was we told the Germans that they did a Holocaust in these camps and that they were putting Jews in gas chambers. And the Germans had never even heard about this idea before. They were saying, what? You're going to put us on trial and tell us that we put people in gas chambers? It's like, that's not even possible. But yet that's what they did. The Germans were not allowed to show these photographs, and the Americans got to tell a big whopper about gas chambers. That's the only, see, Nuremberg was such an upside-down coordinate. It bastardized justice forever. And we live in a world of the Nuremberg trial. All of our courts are the descendants of Nuremberg. It's all corrupt. The court system is all corrupt. They do theater trials all the time. All the time. Every day. There's a theater trial. It's not real. Actors. The judges are in on it. This is a final embrace of a mother with her child. They suffocated together in the basement. Yep. You Americans and you Brits did this with your Soviet friends. You raped all, and don't blame this on the Soviets. Oh, well, the Soviets, had a rape. We're kind of rapey. No, you Americans raped also. You got your reputation over there in France. No, and the Soviets wouldn't have been allowed to rape if you Americans hadn't let them rape. As you can see, this is a girl dressed in her Sunday dress, maybe 13 years old. And she died a horrific death. Probably raped multiple times before she died. She probably witnessed her parents get murdered, because when a 13-year-old gets raped, usually their parents try to stop it and they get murdered. And she witnessed that in sheer terror, and then she was raped. This is the story of World War II right here in one photograph. You people want to tell me that the war was fake. No. No, it was an old-fashioned loot and plunder. The Allies went in and raped and looted Germany. Rape, the biggest mass rape in human history. Like 2 million girls got raped. 2 million. Another photo of a rape victim from Germany. Let's get over to Hiroshima, or what they told us was an atom bomb. But as we know now, in Hiroshima, again, the clothes have not completely burned off. You see, he's kind of in the same position where the wrists are curling over. See, this is an entire different country, an entire different part of the world. And notice how the wrists are curling over, just like those boys in Dresden. These people in Hiroshima were killed by the same weapon that was dropped on Dresden. That's strange. On the other side of the world, by the same people, the Americans. That's right, dropping their napalm on civilians. Here's another picture at Hiroshima. Again, what are the Japanese doing? They are not covering the bodies in sheets. They are not putting the bodies in body bags because they are trying to get an identification on these bodies. Putting bodies in body bags is only done when they're trying to conceal the fakery that it's all fake. This is what real looks like, just like in Dresden. Again, the clothes are not burned off, right? Because these people were suffocated by the napalm. Miles Mathis crew. This is why the clothes didn't burn. Now here's a woman and her child that were burned by flames. An oxygenated fire. A fire that has lots of oxygen. Will do this. It'll char you like a piece of wood. Notice the baby here. Again, this is a civilian. Nobody can doubt that this is a civilian here. Now, the Americans admitted to bombing civilians at Hiroshima. Well, we had to, but we had to use our atomic bomb. And because we had to tell the Soviets that we have this new weapon, and so you better not mess with us. And well, the Soviets knew it was fake. The Soviets knew that we were using napalm in Hiroshima. The Soviets faked their own atomic weapons. The whole Cold War was fake. The Soviets and the Americans were best friends in World War II. You think that changed? They are connected to this crime. The Russians and the Americans are partners in crime. They know each other's secret. They know that each one of them did this to innocent people in order to gain world control. Because we are under Soviet control now. Because we had to kill these people here. And so we're partners in crime with the Soviets. It's not like we're best friends with the Soviets. It's just like, it's like two gangsters on the same block. It's like, yeah, hey, you know, yeah, he does bad stuff and we know he does bad stuff, but hey, you know, we're all just gangsters, you know. So they're just ruled by different tribes of gangsters is what it is. This is a screenshot from a video from Hiroshima. Again, hey, this looks like Dresden. This is on the other side of the world. This is in Japan. And look, they're doing the same exact damn thing that they were doing in Dresden. Because this is what real looks like. Hey, oh, go on. This is what real looks like. Okay? We don't see that at Pearl Harbor. We don't see that in London. We don't see that at Warsaw, where we were told the Germans were bombing civilians in Warsaw. Well, we don't have any photos that even look like this from Warsaw. Only the Allies doing it to Japan and Germany. That's the only, this photographic evidence only goes one way. One way. Okay, so, again, obviously, civilians here. A woman and her baby. Notice here that the skin looks identical from Dresden. Notice the white patch and the dark patch. This is exactly what we saw at Dresden. The same weapon was used here. I'm showing you photographs. All you people that are telling me that the World War II is fake, you don't give me any evidence. Sometimes you give me this numerology, saying, oh, well, Phil, the war ended in 1945. If you take 1 and you add it to 9, and you do, it's the same as 45. 45 adds up to 9 also. Phil, can't you see it's all fake? Because the numerology, I don't care about your damn numerology. I care about the damn photographs. You got none. You've got none. the Japanese, and Germans have all the photographs. You have zero. I don't care about your numerology. Ugh, one more person gives me a numerology fucking puzzle. I'm gonna have a meltdown like I'm having right now. Okay. What's this? Hinder the identification process. This is what real looks like. And in Gaza, what we're seeing in Gaza is what fake looks like. Okay? Now, in Gaza, we should be seeing scenes like this. Again, this is Hiroshima. We can tell this is a civilian. This is not a non-military car here, a civilian car. We see a bicycle back here. This is a civilian neighborhood here. And look at this, all these dead civilians here. This looks like the streets of Dresden where they mistook the dead bodies for logs of wood. Well, we see the same thing here in Hiroshima. The same pair of legs here, again, with the knees sticking up. Remember, because that's that position that bodies get into as they're being fried to death. The Japanese faked it too. The whole war was fake. No. What the Americans did at Pearl Harbor was fake, but what the Americans did to the civilians in Japan is very real. The Americans faked Pearl Harbor so that they could kill as many. Do the Americans have any photos that look like this from Pearl Harbor? We should have dozens of photos from Pearl Harbor of sailors that look like this. We were told the Japanese were using torpedoes. Well, a torpedo will cause injuries like this to sailors. We don't have a single one that looks like this from Pearl Harbor. Well, what really happened at Pearl Harbor? We're going to get into that in a second here. Okay. And again, a girl, a civilian with melted skin. This is what you Americans did. You dropped napalm on women and children. And you have never repented for it. That's why our country continues to be cursed. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, it makes no fucking difference to me. Politics is bullshit. I don't care if you're liberal, I don't care if you're conservative. We're all guilty of a crime here in this country, and none of you have repented. And this is why our country gets more divided and more sick. Because of this crime here. And here they want you to think that this is the aftermath of the atomic bombs dropped in here. You see, this is the only reason why the Americans wanted you to see these photos. It's because they wanted to scare you about this atomic bomb. Now, there are thousands more photos like this from Japan. Because remember, we burned 65 Japanese cities. There were thousands more photos, but MacArthur, the War Department, could not allow the American public to see all these thousands of photos because it would cause us to double think, second guess what the American public would say. Hey, what are we doing over there in Japan? How come we're killing all these civilians? They only allowed a handful of photos from Hiroshima to get to the American public because they wanted to scare us about this atomic bomb. No, I'm here to tell you right now, there were thousands more photographs like this, thousands more. The Americans hid all of those photographs from you because they brought the Nuremberg trial in which they trick you with these gas chambers, these mythical gas chambers that aren't even possible anyway. It's not possible to gas 700 people at a time. We've only gassed 2 people at a time, tops. You know, America had gas chambers. We executed prisoners with gas chambers. You can only do 2 people at a time, tops. You can't. You would kill everybody within a 2-mile radius if you put 700 people together and put gas in there. It would go downwind. It would kill everyone within a 2-mile radius. It's totally stupid, the whole idea. So, again, that's what real looks like. Now let's go to what the Brits showed us in London, okay? Remember, we were told that the Germans were dropping incendiary bombs on London. Remember? The London Blitz? Well, so let's take a look. Here's some British that are taking shelter in the tube because above their heads, as we speak, the Germans are dropping napalm, incendiary bombs, on London. These people are having a jolly old time. This guy over here smiling. This guy back here, the big old grin. They're having tea. Oh, they're all having tea. Yes, let's have tea while the Germans are dropping incendiary bombs above our head. See, this is what not real looks like. There were no smiles in Dresden. There were no smiles in Hiroshima as the napalm was falling from the sky. I guarantee you this. This is a population that are being tricked by their government. The government told them to go down into the tube. When they came up out of the tube, they saw some buildings that had been destroyed. And the British government said, look what the evil Germans did. The Germans destroyed this building over here. There is nobody in that building. None of these people know anyone of their family who has been dead. That's why they're all smiling. None of these people have been personally affected by any death in their family. That's why all these people are smiling. When you start losing family members, the smiles go away. It's like, then you're in sheer terror. We saw faces of sheer terror in Dresden. These people are not under sheer terror. They have not lost any family members. They hear rumors of somebody across town who lost a family member, but it's just a rumor, and they don't know that person. And so, but they personally don't know anyone. And here is, oh, Mrs. Applegate left and Mrs. King with children walking past a bombed building. September. Look at the smiles. They're all smiling. Okay. So again, the reason why they're, no, just because you see a bombed building does not mean that there's anybody in that building. And it also doesn't mean that the Germans did it. It means the British blew up an old, empty building. These people are not personally affected. They do not know a single family member who has been killed. That's why they're smiling. See, they have their babies in their arms. They know exactly where their children are. And so they think it's kind of exciting that they went down to the tube and they come up and they see this. They're told what the Germans did. No, this is the British faking. This is what fake looks like. When you see smiles, this is what fake looks like. Duping delight. There was no smiles in Dresden. There was no smiles. And what they did in London is they threw mannequins because they didn't have any dead bodies. So what they did, this is a department store that they said the Germans blew up, and they threw some mannequins out on the sidewalk. Oh my God. And when you first see this photograph, you go, oh my God, there's legs on the sidewalk. Legs. Yeah, they're just fake legs, okay? Did you see any mannequins on the street in Hiroshima? Did you see any mannequins on the street in Dresden? No, you only see this where they are faking it in London. Where they are blowing up their own buildings. That doesn't mean Germany was doing it. And here's another scene where they blew up a department store. You can see in the background, they got the fire hose going on this building. That doesn't mean anyone was in that building. They blew up an old building. And again, what do you see? They threw out the mannequins onto the sidewalk. At first glance, like, oh my God, that's horrible. But no, look closer. This is a freaking mannequin. You Americans fell for this. And that's why you went over there and killed all those real women and children in Germany. Because you fell for stupid stuff like this. What is this? This a man dressed up as a woman? Yeah. That's because Britain is a Jewish-controlled country, and so you get stuff like this. These are the people who won the war. That's why we get transgendered cross-dressers in our country, because we helped these people win the war. This woman back here is smiling because she doesn't know anyone who's dead. She doesn't know anybody who's injured. She thinks it's all kind of exciting how they get to go up and see all this wreckage. Wow, this is exciting. Again, here's another. And let's zoom in on here. Let's get to Pearl Harbor. I don't know, this might be a long video. Might go 45 minutes. Maybe Japanese use torpedoes. Well, that's horrible. We should see all kinds of charred bodies and people with missing arms and limbs. Instead, what do they show us? Well, here's one of the injured people from Pearl Harbor. Here he is coming out of the sick hall. And I guess he was shot in the arm. And they got this little, he's smoking a cigarette, of course. Look at this thing. With his injured arm. So he's holding the cigarette in his injured arm. So, and apparently he's holding the bullet that this, I guess this doctor has removed this bullet from his arm. And so, is this believable to you? Okay, did we see any pictures like this from Germany? No. The Germans showed us pictures of real dead people and injured people. This is an obviously staged photo. Here's another photo from Pearl Harbor. So what do we see here? Again, they're putting the sheets on top of the body. That's not what you do, because you need to get an identification. We see a pair of shoes. We see one shoe here and then another shoe here. That doesn't prove shit. That means you're staging a photo here, and you don't want us to see that they're not injured. The people that are wearing these shoes do not have a single injury on them. You are doing a drill. The Navy is doing another drill. They showed us a picture of a dead Japanese pilot. Okay, does this look like a dead Japanese pilot? Notice the British guy is here. Why is the British guy here? Because he's telling the Americans how to fake it. He said, we did this in the London Blitz. Let us show you how you do it. You blow up some old battleships and the whole world will think it's real. And then he just blamed the Japanese for it. That's why the British are here. I don't think this is a dead body. I can't see the face. This is supposed to be a dead Japanese pilot. I don't see a Japanese uniform. The Germans would get the camera right up into the face of the corpse. I don't see a face here. See, this is the difference between American photography and German photography. The American photographer is being deceptive. He's covering up the bodies with fabric so that you can't see the detail of the injury, or that it's even a human body at all. The Germans wanted you to see that they were real human bodies you were looking at. But here is where it is fake. This is when it's fake. Of a sailor that supposedly was killed by a Japanese torpedo. This sailor was killed by a Japanese torpedo. Let's take a closer look. I don't see any broken bones. I don't see any part of the clothing that is burned. I don't see any burns. I don't see any cause of death here. Could this be a guy who just put his legs in the water and posed for a quick photograph and got right back up? Yes. In fact, that's the most logical conclusion from this photograph. This is a healthy guy. This is supposedly a civilian from Honolulu that got, I don't know why it's doing. So, again, we see a car that's been shot up with a lot of bullets. Oh my God, that's horrible. Oh my God, Phil, can't you see the car? It's got all these bullet holes in it. And then so you see the guy, he's got his head slouched over as if you would die in this position. Like, as if he was in this car at the time that these bullets were going through it. No, he wasn't. This is an actor who got into this door, posed for this photograph, and got out. After all the photos I just showed you from Hiroshima and Dresden, this is what you Americans show me as a dead body. This is not a dead body. This is an actor posing for a photograph. Yeah, and of course, we knew that the Japanese were going to attack. It was not a surprise attack. Here it is in the Honolulu Advertiser. A week before the event, Japanese may strike over the weekend. It was not this is because the Navy was preparing to do a drill. In other words, the Navy was going to blow up some old battleships, and the people in Honolulu might see it. And so they were warning the public, hey, don't be traumatized. The Japanese may attack. And so when you see the Arizona get blown up, it's just us. We're blowing up our own battleship, and don't freak out. In other words, they're telling the civilian population of Honolulu not to freak out when we blow up some battleships, okay? That's what they're doing here. And it was also foretold in this is a San Luis, what is that, Argentina newspaper. Anyway, it says, invasion Japanese on the United States, and this is dated December 6th. See, a day before. This is a day before the attack, and the Latin Americans knew that the Japanese were coming. How'd they know that? Because they got the memo. They knew it was going to be fake too. And the Hilo Tribune also foretold it. Hilo Tribune. This is also November 30th, 1941. This is a week before the supposed attack. And this again to calm the nerves of the public. Hey, don't worry. When you see us blow up those old battleships, don't worry. Just don't freak out, okay? Don't freak out. And so that's it. And of course, they used miniatures. The whole Pearl Harbor was remember Godzilla, where the Godzilla would go destroy Tokyo and it was all a bunch of miniatures? Well, guess what? Pearl Harbor was a Godzilla movie. They used miniatures. This was a movie set, just like Godzilla. Yes. Yes. And then I've shown the video where they used the miniatures. This is to convince the American public that the event was real. So no matter how many war documents, as if war documents are the easiest thing to forge, I'm not looking at war documents. I'm not looking at newspaper headlines because I know who controls the war documents. I know who controls the newspaper headlines. I'm looking at the photographs because the photographs tell the story, tell the real story. And you people need to come up with the photos because I can prove the photos were never taken. The Americans never took the photos of the dead sailors and the British never took the photos of the dead civilians in London. I could prove. I can also prove the Poles did not take photos of the dead civilians at Warsaw. I could prove all of this. You can't prove nothing. I can prove all of this from my basement. In my Walmart shirt. You people who are so learned and such scholars, get busy. Find these photographs that are missing from the historical record. Find them. They don't exist. I've already looked. They don't exist. You don't have them because you started the biggest war in human history and perpetrated the biggest crime, and 80 years later, you don't want to
Now, this right here, this is me. Remember when Neo meets the AI? This is the darkness. I was sent here to take over the darkness. Right? So, I'm going to use the same darkness that Satan and Lilith used to kill all of us and make us sick. I'm going to use their own darkness to kill evil. So I came here to take over the darkness and use it to kill the pedophiles. I'm using the darkness to kill evil. And I'll show you. So Lauren Pritchard is Lilith. Just listen.
I strayed from God. I strayed from Adam, and I'm just gonna stay with Adam now. I'm just gonna stay. Time ago, that says be careful.
The gate. Right here. Right? Katy Perry is Lilith, the eyeball in her mouth. Again, Katy Perry dressed as Joan of Arc. Symbolic for Noah's Ark. Symbolic for 13. JC, Jesus Christ. The Hulk is also Lucifer. Anyway, so there's the Hydra parasite. Right? Inside the COVID-19 wax. Parasite coming out of Lucifer's mouth. Cube. And Lucifer can't be killed. He's eternal. Look, she blew his brains out, but yet he's still... You can't kill Lucifer. Lucifer will just come back to life. Shoot, that's his soul. This guy took the mark of the beast. His soul got infected. If Lucifer can infect you with the Hydra parasite, he can control you through the Saturn cube. You flip, it says 0061. If you flip it, right, do you see the barcode? Which is the Saturn cube, and you have 19. Do you notice the 19 in the cube? It is the 19 inside the cube. The COVID-19 wax. right? Is revenge. There's the revenge, the R6, the mark of the beast, right? That is the COVID-19 vaccination is Lilith and Lucifer's vendetta against God. Lilith and Lucifer want to send God's children to hell. Over Rockefeller, Rocca. There's the hand of Satan. Lucifer, he has a vagina. Lady Gaga is Lilith. She has a penis. Right? Their whole world is inverted transgenders, and you can see this in the Deant word. That is Lucifer. When Lucifer comes to Earth, he comes in transgender bodies with vaginas. When Lilith comes to Earth, there's her cock. Lady Gaga is Lilith, and she has a penis, which is... So, Lucifer's holding the portal, and you see that thing? That's the cattle brand. So, how do you get cattle branded? You see that purple thing Lilith is holding? As soon as you get hit with the vaccine or the AI portal, what's going to happen is, once they fly the cube down to here, it's going to suck you into the cube. This Saturn cube in her fucking toilet. So, what's this? The beginning, middle, and an end. And right now we're at the end of the matrix. Drug A is called without the mind, the body is dead. Remember that in the matrix? Without the mind, the body is dead. So if you take the vaccine, it kills your body and your mind gets trapped in the computer. You get trapped in the cube forever. There's no escaping it. Because you don't have a body, you're just consciousness trapped in the computer. You are a ghost in the machine. This is the whole point of their vaccination. Dahmer, and then it shows Lucifer. Right? That's Lucifer, the bull god. Jeffrey Dahmer is Satan, retards. Cube. And how do you get inside Lilith Saturn cube? You have to go in the butthole. See the fucking anus? Right? That's the asshole. That's the asshole, the entrance of the Saturn cube toilet. And right there, do you see the vampires, the bats flying out of the asshole? That's the bat cave. There's her asshole. So the bat cave is Lucifer's asshole, the Saturn cube. There's the entrance, the butthole to Lilith's mothership, the Saturn cube butthole. Right? There's the anus. That's Lilith. There she is right there. So Lilith's anus is this. It's her cube, the mothership. The movie's called Life Force because Lilith's Saturn cube drains her life force. So we are asleep in these tanks, and these tanks suck up our soul energy. Right? This cube, the Saturn cube, is a computer system that absorbs our soul energy. Steal our angel energy, he has to reverse it negative. How does Lucifer reverse our positive energy? Feed off of it like a beehive. Our soul energy is the honey that they feed off of. Right? These insectoids, these mantis creatures, these are Lilith and Lucifer's children. They feed off of us. These Arcturians are Lilith and Lucifer's children. They come to Earth in a human body to feed. Are Lilith and Lucifer's children. They come to Earth to feed off of us. Right? So let me explain something to you. So right now in the Saturn cube mothership, there's only 10 humans left. Only we have souls. There's only 10 humans left in the Saturn cube mothership. Right? They can only feed off someone with a soul. So there's only 10 people with souls that Lucifer and his children are feeding off of us. Right? So Lucifer there's 8.5 billion of Lucifer's children in the cube, and they're all feeding off of us. The last 10 humans cube mothership. Right? They can only feed off someone with a soul. So there's only 10 people with souls that Lucifer and his children are feeding off of us. Right? So Lucifer there's 8.5 billion of Lucifer's children in the cube, and they're all feeding off of us. The last 10 humans are being preyed upon by Lucifer and his children. So this is what I'm telling you. So all these hybrids, Lucifer's children, they come into the Saturn cube to feed off of us. So have you heard of Bridget Nielsen as Lilith? Right? Lilith and her children, this is one right here. Look at her reptilian neck. So Lilith and her children, they come into this matrix to feed off of us. Right? These gray aliens, they come into the matrix to feed off of us. We are in hell. Right? You know how they say the Virgin Mary and all these ascended masters are here? That's bullshit, because we are in hell. If Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary were ascended masters, they wouldn't be in here, because this is hell, right? The only reason Lilith and Lucifer's children come into the Saturn cube is to feed off of us, to kill us, to drain our soul energy. So this is Joel Lakey, this is Starseed Talk. Every single one of these people is a starseed. These are Lucifer's vampire children that come into this matrix to feed off of us. And I'll show you. Joel Lakey. Her mothership is to harvest our soul energy, right? So this is the whole point of the Matrix. The whole point is to keep us asleep. So you know this Matrix, this dream reality they send to our brain, this illusion, the computer, it keeps us asleep. They want to keep us asleep and trapped in their Saturn cube mothership so they can feed off of our soul energy. So Lilith and Lucifer are afraid of us waking up and leaving the Saturn cube mothership. This is what the vaccine is for. The vaccine will make sure you never wake up. If you take the vaccine, you will never wake up. You will be trapped. You will sleep in the Saturn cube mothership forever, and they will feed off of your souls. Remember, we are in hell. All these entities that you see, they come here to feed off of us. All of them. There's only 10 humans left connected to the computer. We have souls. There's only 10 people left with souls, right? Lucifer's children can only feed off people with souls. They need to feed off of our soul energy. So there's 10 humans. The rest of them are Lucifer's vampire children that are here to kill us. They're not good.
She said
Is the hypnotist. Lucifer has put us to sleep. Lucifer has used the Saturn cube. The Saturn cube has put us to sleep. Now Lucifer is the hypnotist. He's narrating us what to believe. So Lucifer can tell us we're chickens. You see what I'm saying? So there's Lucifer. He has us. Lucifer the hypnotist, the master magician, the master mason, the 33rd degree mason. Lucifer has put us to sleep using the Saturn cube lulzite frequency. Now Lucifer is the hypnotist casting his spells on us while we sleep. And remember, our consciousness is teleported. When we go to sleep inside the Saturn cube, Lucifer teleports her consciousness into the flat earth dome. He projects her consciousness as a hologram inside the flat earth dome. And Lucifer is the narrator.
You're going on a journey through memory. All you have to do.
Right? None of this is real. All this shit that's happening, it's our memories. This is just memories. We're in a dream. This is just your fucking memories. Have you ever... We're in memory lane. Earth is memory lane.
Always follow my voice.
Notice how this movie is made by Warner Brothers? They're warning you of what is coming. Again, Warner Brothers has the 23. B is 2. AB is 2.
We have time for one more job.
Now, you see how she's putting those things on her head? She's going into the Matrix. Oh my god, do you see Hugh Jackman's hand? Hugh Jackman is a reptilian shapeshifter. So let's just go into Hugh Jack Hoffman's hand. I always call him Hugh Jack Hoffman. I don't like him. He's reptilian. So let's look at his hand. You can see it's shape-shifting. So that's Lucifer inserting Lilith into the Matrix. That's Lucifer inserting Lilith into the Matrix. And let me show you how this works one more time. So when Lilith gets inserted into the Matrix, remember, she goes into the trip seat. Lucifer puts Lilith to sleep inside the Saturn cube. And then Lilith's consciousness is transferred as a hologram into the flat Earth dome, into the holodeck. Right? So there's Lilith. She's going to go to sleep inside the Saturn cube, and she's going to wake up in the flat Earth matrix, hologram, the holodeck. So this is us. We go to sleep, and then her consciousness is transferred to the flat Earth as a hologram. See? She's in the flat Earth. She's in the holodeck. Right, so now she's in the flat Earth, the holodeck. This is also known as Indra's net, which is also known as, or you can see it in the Billie Eilish hostage video. Whatever you do in the Matrix happens to your real body. Whatever you do in the Matrix happens to your real body.
Everybody falls the first time, right?
I thought it wasn't real. Your mind makes it real.
So let me explain to you how this applies to you. So if you take drugs in the Matrix, it affects your real body, right? So if you know how fluoride destroys your pineal gland? If you drink fluoride in the Matrix, your real body gets affected by the fluoride. Just like if you take the mark of the beast in the Matrix, your real body takes the mark of the beast and you will never wake up. Say, if you eat genetically modified foods in the Matrix that lower your vibration, that attack your pineal gland and make you dumb, if you eat GMO foods in the Matrix, it affects your real body. Then your real body becomes dumb. If you take the mark of the beast in the Matrix, your real body takes the mark of the beast and you will never wake up. You will be trapped in the Matrix forever. Right? I'm telling you, these reptilians, they're magicians. And of all the people you see around you aren't real. They're clones. So do you see how the only two people here is Neo and Morpheus? The rest of them, these are NCPs. Those are soulless people. This is what we're surrounded by. When you go outside, there is no humans around you. All these people that you see around you, they're computer programs. And who controls the computer programs? Lucifer and Lilith. So since these are NCPs, these are all clones. 99.9% of the world is clones. So when you go outside, all those people you see walking around you, they're not real people. They're soulless beings. Do you know what they are? They're zombies, right? They're just an animated corpse. It's a clone with no soul, animated by the artificial intelligence. We're surrounded by the zombies. These are dead people with no soul. The NCPs, the soulless people, the computer programs, we're surrounded by them. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. So when you go outside and people start walking their dogs, cars driving by, people on their bikes, airplanes, those aren't real people. Those are computer programs. NCPs. NCPs are used to keep this matrix going. They're meant to trap you here because you're in the illusion. You think you're in the real world. You're like, everything's fine. You're like, my neighbors are still alive. You're like, Earth is still fully populated. There's girls everywhere. People are having babies. There's nurses. The world is perfectly fine. It's meant to distract you. to make you think the world is still here. The world doesn't exist anymore. What's happening is a computer program is playing out in your mind. Right? The Matrix, the Saturn cube, the AI makes you think this is the real world through the NCPs, because you see the NCPs, right? If there were no NCPs, if they turned off all the NCPs, you probably would not see a real person. In your town or city, wherever you live, if they removed all the NCPs, you would be the only real person in your city or town.
Platonism to Kabbalah, where the rays of the sun are within the sun, are of the sun, and yet as they emerge from the sun, they individuate from the sun and become something of their own entity, but still relying on the sun as their source. Another corollary key Hindu doctrine to that of Brahman is that of the self, the soul, Atman in Hinduism, which is seen as identical with Brahman, essentially teaching that the self, or the true self rather, is identical with God. And because this God is essentially conceptualized as identical with all of reality, this means that you too in Hinduism are all of reality. And this is precisely what we find in what's known as the four great sayings of the Upanishads. One, Ayam Atma Brahman.
Pantheism is the claim that everything is God. Not everything kind of has a little God of its own in it, but everything is God. Under some versions of this, notably Spinoza's, the physical world is in fact the mind of God, and therefore mental. That's a bit confusing. We won't go into that position too much in depth here, but that's the basic idea. Everything is God, everything is God's mind, and so everything, of course, has mental states and mental properties, because everything just is mental. You also have panentheism, claim that God is present in everything. God is omnipresent. And so because everything has a little bit of God in it, and God is conscious, everything has a bit of consciousness in it. Namely, the part of it
right now, there's probably only 2 or 3 real humans in your country. So let's say, if you live in America, or if you live in Canada, I'll estimate high. Let's say there's, in Canada, there's 30 real humans. In America, there's only 40 real humans. So, say if you live in Idaho, you're the only fucking human. Say if you live in, Seattle, Washington, you're the only real human. Say if you live in Vancouver, British Columbia, you're the only real human. Say if you live in Quebec City, you're the only real human. All these other things around you are NCPs. Soulless, right? This is what we live in. Your parents aren't real. Your grandparents aren't real. Your neighbors aren't real. Your children aren't real. Your kids aren't real. This is a computer program meant to make you think you're in the real world. But what's really happening is this. You're really asleep in a computer, in a dream. You think you're in a real world, but it's the computer playing tricks on your mind. You're in the Groundhog's Day. This is what you're in. You're in the Groundhog's Day, right? You're in a time loop. The Matrix plays the same movie in your head over and over. You go to bed, you wake up. That's the time loop, right? When you wake up, the movie starts. When you go to bed, the movie finishes. Wake up, the movie starts. Go to bed, the movie finishes. You're on a 24-hour time loop, right? The Matrix starts and it ends. The movie is only 24 hours long. You wake up, you go to bed, then the movie resets. You're in a brand new Matrix. You wake up, you go to bed, then the movie resets. It's like, you know when you play a video game and you lose and the level restarts? This is what we're doing. The level starts and it ends, but it's only a 24-hour period. It's not time. There's not 365 days in a year. It's the same day, starting and ending, over and over and over. That gives the appearance of a year. And this is how the AI is trapping us here. Through the NCPs. Even the concert is controlled by NCPs. So when you go to a concert, right, there's people, there's only 2 or 3 real humans. This is how they're using the NCPs to make, just show you something when Beyonce plays at a concert. So when Beyonce is lilth. So when Beyonce has a concert and stadium is full of people, there's probably only maybe about, at the fucking most, maybe like 10, 30 real people at this concert, right? The rest are NCPs. So do you know how Beyonce makes herself look famous? All the people cheering are the NCPs. All the people buying Beyonce's records are the NCPs. All Beyonce's fans are the NCPs, right? Same thing with YouTube. All the famous people on YouTube, most of the viewers and commenters on YouTube are NCPs. So do you see how Lucifer and Lilith are using the NCPs, the computer programs, to make themselves look famous? Right? So say if you have a sold-out concert, and the only reason your concert is sold out is because you're Lucifer or you're Lilith, and you control the NCPs, you get the NCPs to come to your concert, thus that makes you look famous. Do you understand how this shit fucking works? They're doing the same thing with this. So right there are lining up to get the corona vaccine. Do you know who all these people are getting the vaccine? These are NCPs, right? So do you know what they're doing? So they'll get the vaccine too, right? This is how Lucifer influences the real humans. Lucifer and Lilith are influencing the real humans through the NCPs. The same with the army. So when like clone, the Clone Wars, right? This is Lucifer's clone army. So you know what else Lucifer has? The police are NCPs. When you go to a Madonna concert and you see all people come to Madonna's show, but you know what Madonna is Lilith. Madonna is a witch. You know why so many people are at Madonna's concert? Because they're NCPs. They're not real people. Madonna is Lilith. Lilith controls the computer simulation, so Lilith can pretend to be famous by, they're nothing but projections, holograms, controlled by the Saturn cube. So if Lilith aka Madonna wants to sell out a concert, all she has to do is tell the Saturn cube to send her all the NCPs, all the holograms. And thus, once all the holograms come to her concert, she looks famous, right? That's why I told you this matrix is an illusion. I don't know how else to explain it anymore. And that's why when Neo, when he goes walking through New York City, none of these people are real. None of them. It's all an illusion, right? Your family's not real. Your parents aren't real. Your kids aren't real. Your wife's not real. That's just how it is. It's not a fucking joke. And since these people don't have souls, right? Remember, Lucifer and Lilith, anyone that's not protected by God, Lucifer and Lilith, they can hop into their bodies and they can possess them. So since these
And in her sleep, she had a dream. In her dream, a real hunk of a man was looking intensely at her and started coming towards her. Closer, closer, closer. He came really close. She could even feel his breath. She trembled, not in fear, and asked, "What will you do to me?" The man said, "Well, lady, it's your dream. After all, it's your act, it's your thought, it's your emotion. You can make it anything you want." Now, behind this, is there a substantial actor? No. This is the reason why you cannot even locate yourself, because you don't exist. I know that I do not exist. I know that I do not exist. You think you exist. Now, is this all? So is it all illusion? It is, but the illusion is real. Just before the homeschool closed, a few young boys came up to me and asked, "Sadhguru, is life real or is it a dream?" Their words were, "Is life true or is it a dream?" I said, life is a dream, but the dream is true. Now are we just playing with more and more words, not trying to get anywhere, going in circles? So if everything is just a dream, if everything is unreal, then enlightenment is also unreal. No. If so much unreality is there is also reality. And that reality is neither the act nor the actor. It doesn't belong to the land of duality. It doesn't belong to the dimension of duality. So it is neither the actor nor the act. And all the act that you perform all happens in a larger consciousness, which is just a landscape behind. It is just an empty scape, it is not even a landscape. It is just an empty scape on which you can do anything you want. You can run a small act with one actor, or you can run a phenomenal act with 1,000,000 actors. You can run whatever you want because it's an empty scape and it's a boundless scape. It's up to you what kind of act you want to put on. It's up to you what kind of actor you want to build. Because a large part of both the actor and the act happens in such unconsciousness, and it is compulsive. Because of the compulsiveness, the most evolved neurological system compared to a worm, insect, bird, animal, anybody. But we also have a psychological process. Whatever your psychological process and all the rubbish that we can generate, instead of living in the Creator's creation, we are living in our own petty creation. That's the big thing. I didn't create anything, so I am here in this world. Oh my God, how would it be? Then after…
The thing is, the creation is made in such a way that creation and creator cannot be separated. Here you are a piece of creation. At the same time, the source of creation is throbbing within you.
Promoting the absurd idea of pantheism. This goes against the simplex axioms of the Vedas, science and reason. If God is everything, and everything is God, then what is the meaning of performing rituals to reach a union with God in Hinduism, which is called the moksha? How do you reach something that is incarnated in you? You are it, and it's you. Also, sins, according to the doctrine of pantheism, are gods. Because God is everything, and everything is God. God, according to pantheism, is adultery. God is murder. So why get rid of sins then? Everyone is keen to do good, and everyone knows that this is a duty. This keenness to the good is a response to the call of the pure innate disposition. So the innate disposition proves the wrongness of pantheism. Also, believing pantheism doesn't answer the question, where did the world come from? Assuming that creation is God is rational invalid. For how something be the cause for its own existence if it has indeed come to exist? It is also scientifically proven that the universe, with everything in it, had a beginning. That is, the universe, with all its energy, matter, space and time, came into being. If pantheism were true, then it would require the universe to be eternal. Therefore, science proves that pantheism is wrong. It is just a pseudoscience. Oddly enough, the Vedas state that the world is created and had a beginning, and that God is distinct from his creation and is incarnated in his creation. The Rig Veda says, the heaven and earth contain thee not together, and also says, ordainer of the days and nights, Lord over all who close the eye. Therefore, the Vedas prove that pantheism is false, and Quran affirms the same clear truth. Allah revealed the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ more than 1,400 years ago that Allah is distinct from his creation and is incarnated in his creatures, and all the creatures are created at the beginning. Allah says, it is Allah who has created the heavens and the earth and everything in between in 6 days, then established himself on the throne. The creed of all the prophets is that Allah is one and only God, is distinct from his creation and is incarnated in them.
All of these things, but it's also encompassing in and through the material. material world. And so for some of us, this comes as a little bit of a shock. And I'll admit, for some people, it is a shock if you are in any sort of Western Christian.
Pantheism. According to this belief, God and universe are not separate. They are actually the same entities. Pantheists believe that the world that we see around us is nothing but the manifestation of God. They believe that the God exists in all the particles and things in the universe, which means everything is God, and God is everything. Number 2. Pantheism. According to the Pantheism, God is the bigger entity in comparison to the universe. The whole universe is just a part of him. Pantheists believe that the world is inside God. Hence, the God not just includes the universe, but extends beyond space and time. Number 3.